Welcome to the channel. And let's start the story. Chapter 56, Beyond Federation. Greyhaven began evacuating at 1906. Aren knew the exact time because the first evacuation convoy broke down at 1911. 5 minutes. That was how long reality allowed plans to remain clean. A 28-year-old civilian transport lost rear suspension pressure on Industrial Route 3 while carrying 43 people toward the Federation emergency zone. Wayfarer had not yet completed converting its workshop module into an evacuation station. That did not matter. Aren looked at the transport telemetry. Rowan. Already moving. Wayfarer turned away from Vale Workshop. Its front legs lowered. Variable area pads widened against loose gravel. Rear supports adjusted. The unfinished Frontier machine crossed Greyhaven's industrial district at 16 kilometers per hour. Not fast. Fast enough. Mira sat at systems. Lucian at frame. Darius stood inside the workshop section securing emergency equipment. Pip occupied his internal mount beside Aren. Nera remained connected remotely from Eidolon 7. Caleb monitored the incoming throne component from Kestrel Reach. The component's arrival timer continued falling. 2 hours 41 minutes and 17 seconds. Greyhaven had less than 3 hours. Aren pushed the threat aside. One problem at a time. The civilian transport leaned dangerously toward the drainage ditch. Its failed rear suspension had dropped almost 30 centimeters. No rollover yet. 43 people inside. Rowan slowed Wayfarer. Approach left? Aren checked the ground. Right. Rowan frowned. Right puts us closer to the ditch. Yes. Lucian saw the structural map. Left road shoulder cannot support Wayfarer's mass. Rowan nodded. Right. No argument. Wayfarer approached from the dangerous side because the apparently safer side was not actually safe. Engineering. Aren opened the forward manipulator controls. External lift point? Mira pulled the transport model. Rear frame has 2. Lucian. 1 corroded. Which? Left. Aren. Use right only. 1 attachment point. Not enough to fully lift the vehicle. But they did not need to lift it. They only needed to reduce load on the failed suspension long enough for passengers to disembark. Wayfarer lowered 1 manipulator. The machine's heavy mechanical palm settled beneath the transport's rear support beam. Pressure rose. Aren. 16%. Rowan held position. Lucian. Wayfarer frame stable. Aren increased. 20-inch. The transport rose 6 centimeters. Enough. Emergency doors opened. People exited. Children first. Elderly. Injured. Then everyone else. 43. No one left inside. Only then did Aren say, lift. Wayfarer raised the rear of the empty vehicle. Lucian. You know we are not recovering that. No. Then why? Aren pointed. The transport blocked the evacuation road. Wayfarer dragged it aside. Machine expendable. Road necessary. People more necessary. The convoy resumed. Pip projected. Evacuation Route 3 restored. Aren looked toward the countdown. 2 hours 34 minutes and 9 seconds. 7-inch minutes lost. 43 people gained. Acceptable. Workshop 0 continued transmitting beneath Greyhaven. Not loudly. Not continuously. 1 pulse every 28 seconds. Caleb described it as a lighthouse. Except lighthouses help travelers avoid danger. This one was calling danger directly toward them. The message remained. First engineering anchor active. Throne component inbound. Purpose, road restoration. Aren returned Wayfarer to Vale Workshop. Greyhaven's evacuation had divided into 5 routes. Federation military transports handled 3. Civilian industry handled 1. Wayfarer handled everything that did not fit neatly into the others. Medical equipment. Heavy life support machinery. People whose mobility systems required external power. 2 infants in portable incubators. A retired mechanic who refused to leave until someone packed his tool chest. Darius packed it. Aren objected. Darius ignored him. It weighs 80 kilograms. He has owned those tools for 50 years. They are not required for survival. Darius looked at him. They are required for him to stop arguing and get on the transport. Aren paused. Acceptable. The old mechanic pointed at Darius. Your boy has sense. Darius laughed. Aren did not understand why. The final transport left Greyhaven's western district. Population remaining inside the restricted zone. Federation, emergency personnel. Workshop staff. Wayfarer crew. 32 civilians refusing evacuation. That number annoyed Celine. Federation, officers were working on it. Humans remained difficult to optimize. Probably good. The countdown reached 1 hour 58 minutes and 33 seconds. Then Caleb spoke. Aren. His voice had changed. Aren turned toward the main display. Caleb's navigation map showed the throne component's route. A bright black gold line connected distant space directly to Greyhaven. Too clean. Too straight. It stopped changing paths. Aren understood. Locked? Yes. Nera appeared beside Caleb. Her own architect interface displayed matching information. The component has a destination now. Lucian looked toward the underground elevator. Workshop 0. Caleb shook his head. No. Everyone looked. Caleb enlarged the destination relationship. It did not terminate at the hidden facility. Not exactly. It terminated on Aren. The room went silent. Darius's expression changed. What? Caleb looked uncomfortable. The path designation is not geographic anymore. Aren stepped closer. Show me. Caleb translated architect, navigation state into human-readable structure. Destination anchor, first engineering continuity. Then beneath it, current resolution, Aren Vale/Adrian Reyes. Nera, immediately. No. Aren looked toward her. She repeated. No. Not fear. Anger. The archive just told us the order lied about continuity. Mira nodded. The architect route still believes Aren is an engineering continuity anchor. Lucian. Which means the throne component does too. Darius looked at Aren. So if you leave Greyhaven? Caleb checked. The route moved. Not much. But enough. It follows. Silence. That changed everything. Greyhaven was not necessarily the target. Aren was. Or the engineering function attached to him. Celine's voice came through Wayfarer's secure channel. Then Aren leaves now. Aren. No. Celine. That was not a suggestion. If I leave without understanding the component, it follows me toward another populated zone. Then we send you somewhere empty. Aren stopped. That was reasonable. Nera leaned toward her display. Outside Federation space. Everyone looked at her. She opened a map. Greyhaven. Federation boundary. Old frontier survey routes. Most inhabited systems clustered inward. Beyond the boundary stretched poorly charted territory. Mining probes. Abandoned stations. Old colony attempts. Architect ruins. And huge regions containing nothing humanity considered useful. Caleb immediately understood. I can give him a path. Celine. No experimental crude path compression. Aren agreed. Yes. Everyone looked at him. Nera narrowed her eyes. You agreed very quickly. Because she is correct. Celine seemed almost suspicious. Aren continued. We do not move people through an untested compressed corridor simply because the threat follows me. Darius nodded. Good. Then Lucian pointed at the Federation transport map. Conventional? Closest border beyond inhabited Federation territory. 11 hours by military carrier. Too long. Throne component arrival. Under 2 hours. Aren stared. There had to be another distinction. The component's physical arrival depended on its destination path. If Aren changed location conventionally, it could recalculate. But maybe. They did not need to move Aren first. They could move the destination relationship. Caleb had already learned how. That was how they redirected the correction unit. Path identity could be partially navigational. Aren looked toward Workshop 0. What does first engineering anchor mean? No one knew. Nera. Asked the archive. They descended again. Workshop 0 felt different during an evacuation. Aren remembered the facility as silent. Ancient. Patient. Now alarms from Greyhaven echoed faintly down the elevator shaft. Human urgency entering architect stillness. The candidate 001 recording remained available. Aren stood before the central console. Darius beside him. Mira. Lucian. Pip. Celine. Nera remote through interface. Caleb connected only through standard communication, not navigation. Dr. Wren had placed him on mandatory rest. He complained. No one cared. Aren asked. Define first engineering anchor. The system answered. First human free road engineering node. Aren froze. Not a person. A node. He asked. Location? Current location, Greyhaven facility. Lucian exhaled. So it is the workshop. Not Aren. Good. Aren asked. Why does incoming throne component target my identity? The system processed. Then. Engineer authority required for anchor restoration. Mira understood. It needs the engineer. Nera. To authorize the road. Aren asked. Can it restore the road without me? No. Darius. Then you are the key. Aren disliked that metaphor. Keys were objects. Still accurate. Celine stepped forward. Then Aren leaves the facility and does not return. Aren looked at the console. What happens when the throne component arrives without engineer authorization? The system answered. Restoration request repeated. And if refused? Escalation. Define escalation. Long pause. Then. Forced sovereign installation attempt. Nera's expression hardened. Same pattern. Ask. Then redefine refusal as failure. Then impose a throne. Aren. Can Greyhaven anchor resist? Unknown. Why unknown? Free road defense architecture incomplete. Candidate 001's project had never been finished. Of course. History repeated itself. Frame 0 incomplete. Wayfarer incomplete. Free roads incomplete. Humans apparently had a habit of beginning important work immediately before disaster. Lucian asked. Can we complete it? The system responded. Yes. Everyone became still. Aren. Requirements. 7-inch symbols appeared. Not 7-inch seats exactly. Related. Engineering authority. Navigation authority. Interface authority. Systems truth. Structural authority. Movement consent. Response authority. Aren stared at the last one. Response authority. Not combat arbiter. Older terminology. Nera. That is basically the 7 seats. Aren nodded. An earlier version. Candidate 001's free road system required multiple human authorities. No throne. What happens if completed? The answer. Anchor may define road without sovereign. Caleb's voice came through. Then we can move the destination. Everyone looked at his screen. Dr. Wren was going to be angry that he had reopened navigation data. Caleb continued before anyone could object. Not Aren. He pointed at the anchor. Greyhaven. Aren understood. The throne component followed the first engineering anchor because it wanted to restore it. If Greyhaven's free road node could define its own path identity, the anchor itself could move navigationally without physically moving workshop 0. Just like the correction unit's target signature. Nera smiled slowly. We send the lighthouse somewhere else. Lucian. Can a building have a different navigational location than its physical location? Caleb. Apparently. Lucian stared. I hate this technology. Aren. You are becoming repetitive. Lucian. So is reality. Aren returned to the console. Can first engineering anchor relocate path identity? Yes. Maximum distance? Undefined. Energy requirement? Depends on road. Can it target empty space beyond Federation territory? Yes. There. Celine looked toward Aren. No people move? Aren. Only the anchor relationship. Caleb. The component should follow the relationship. Nera. And Greyhaven physically stays here. Mira. If it works. Correct. Aren looked at the 7 required authorities. They had 6. Engineer. Aren. Navigation. Caleb. Interface. Nera. Systems. Mira. Structural. Lucian. Movement, consent. Rowan. Response authority. Empty. That role had remained unassigned through Wayfarer development. Combat, arbiter. They could not fake it. Could not let the machine fill it. No throne. Aren asked. Can anchor relocation proceed without response authority? No. Silence. Lucian looked at Aren. Of course. They needed a 7th person. Immediately. But not merely any person. Someone responsible for deciding what the system was allowed to do when confronted. Weapons release. Threat response. Proportionality. Someone who understood that capability did not equal permission. Aren thought of several people. Bren. Tessa. Seraphine. Garan. Ren. Celine. Then the facility spoke. Local response compatible human detected. Everyone looked around. Celine's expression changed first. No. Aren looked toward her. The system highlighted. Celine Ward. Response compatibility, 84.7%. Silence. Celine stared at the console. I was an engineer. 17 years ago, Lucian said. She looked at him sharply. He continued. You have spent 17 years deciding when systems should and should not be used. Mira nodded. Federation liaison. Operational authority, Darius added. Celine looked toward Aren. No. Aren waited. She continued. I am not becoming your seventh seat because a machine says I fit. Good. Exactly. Aren asked. Do you want to provide temporary response authority for this operation? Celine stared at the 7 symbols. Not join Wayfarer. Not accept a permanent role. 1 operation. 1 responsibility. Greyhaven, evacuation. Prevent forced sovereign restoration. Redirect threat into empty space. She asked. What exactly would my authority cover? Aren answered. Whether the anchor may respond to the incoming throne component by moving its navigational identity. No weapons? None. No counterattack? No. No permanent role assignment? No. Nera. And the system records that. Aren entered. Response authority, temporary. Operator, Celine Ward. Scope, Greyhaven anchor relocation only. Expiration, mission end. Workshop 0 accepted. Celine read it twice. Then, I consent. The 7th symbol illuminated. No throne appeared. Caleb chose the destination. Not immediately. Aren refused to let him simply pick empty space. Empty space was not enough. Shipping lanes changed. Survey ships wandered. People could appear. The destination needed to be genuinely isolated. Federation Navigation Archives identified 12 candidate regions. Caleb eliminated 8. Nera eliminated 2 because faint architect infrastructure existed nearby. 1 had unstable gravity. That left 1. Outer Dark Region 7C. Beyond Federation recognized territory. No known settlements. No active mining claims. No scheduled probes. Nearest inhabited system. 1.7 light-years. Caleb looked at it. Navigation relationship is weak. Aren. Meaning? Harder to define. Safer? For other people, yes. Good. The anchor should be difficult to reach. They prepared. Wayfarer remained above Workshop 0, handling evacuation. Rowan had returned to the surface station. His movement consent could be supplied remotely through Wayfarer's independent authority link. That mattered. The 7 roles did not need to occupy 1 room. Human distribution. Not only mechanical. Mira established systems truth. Lucian confirmed Workshop 0 structure. Nera connected through Eidolon interface. Caleb entered navigation for 1 15-minute session. Dr. Wren had approved only after threatening to sedate him if he exceeded it. Celine accepted temporary response responsibility. Aren placed his hand on the old mechanical authorization panel. No neural synchronization. Physical contact. Good. Workshop 0 displayed. Free road anchor relocation. Destination, Outer Dark Region 7C. Physical structure remains local. Road identity relocates. Then, all authorities distinct. 1 by 1. Engineer. Confirmed. Navigator. Caleb. Confirmed. Interface. Nera. Confirmed. Systems. Mira. Confirmed. Structure. Lucian. Confirmed. Movement. Rowan's voice from Wayfarer. Confirmed. Response. Celine looked at Aren. Then at Greyhaven. Confirmed. The system asked. Sovereign authorization? Aren felt everyone tense. There was no sovereign. They did not provide one. The system waited. Then. None present. Free road mode accepted. Workshop 0 woke. Not like Frame 0. No golden eye. No reactor roar. The walls illuminated with thin white-blue lines. Thousands. They spread beneath the floor. Into the old industrial foundations. Not destructive. Mapping. Greyhaven became a node. Not physically. Navigationally. Caleb gasped. Nera. Caleb? I'm fine. Name. Caleb Reese. Age. 16. Bat coffee. Still terrible. Good. Caleb stared at navigation. Greyhaven's location split. Physical location remained inside Federation territory. Path identity. Moved. Slowly. Like a point on a map being dragged beyond the edge. Aren watched the throne component route. It resisted. The incoming line bent. Caleb whispered. It noticed. The component increased compression. Arrival timer. 41 minutes and 6 seconds. Then, 28 minutes and 42 seconds. Lucian stared. It is accelerating. Aren. Continue. Workshop Zero's power demand rose. External grids began supplying it. Mira. Greyhaven, municipal network at 73%. Too high. They could not brown out evacuation systems. Wayfarer. Darius answered from the surface. Ready. Wayfarer's 3 industrial reactors connected through temporary external power lines. Reactor 1. 42%. 2-inch. 39%. 3-inch. 41%. Workshop, 0 demand transferred. Greyhaven grid dropped to safe level. The machine above became a generator for the road below. Appropriate. Aren watched reactor temperatures. Good. Then Workshop, 0, demanded more. Wayfarer. 55%. 62%. 67%. Lucian. Why increasing? Caleb. The throne component is pulling against the relocation. Path conflict. Not force in normal space, but energy nonetheless. 2 systems defining where the same relationship belonged. Aren disliked abstract engineering. He preferred bolts. But energy was energy. Constraints were constraints. Maximum sustainable reactor output? Darius answered. 78 combined if we want full cooling margin. Set 70. Wayfarer stopped increasing. Workshop, 0 relocation slowed. Throne component timer. 17 minutes and 18 seconds. Nera. We're losing. Aren looked at the problem. More power? No. Could push reactors higher. Maybe. Bad. Could use Greyhaven grid. Possible. Risk civilian evacuation. No. Could reduce relocation distance. But then destination might be closer to inhabited space. Could choose a stronger road relationship. Caleb saw it. There's another way. Aren. Explain. We are trying to move directly from Greyhaven to 7C. Yes. That is one huge change. Aren immediately understood. Stepping stones. Caleb smiled despite the strain. Exactly. Human path relay principle. Again. Do not solve one impossible jump. Break it into smaller ones. Caleb identified intermediate free road reference points. Not physical relays. Old navigation landmarks. Dead survey zones. Uninhabited gravitational markers. Greyhaven anchor identity could move through them sequentially. 3 steps. Federation edge marker. Abandoned survey point H4-inch. Outer dark 7C. Aren changed the sequence. Workshop 0 accepted. Power demand dropped 14%. Lucian laughed once. Of course. Aren. Do not celebrate. I am not. You are. Internal. Nera laughed. First relocation. Complete. The throne component route bent sharply. Arrival timer increased. 26 minutes and 1 second. Second relocation. Power rose. Wayfarer held. 39 minutes and 18 seconds. Third. Outer dark 7C. Workshop 0 displayed. Road identity relocation complete. Caleb shouted. It moved. The component route changed. Not toward Greyhaven. Away. Past Federation border. Toward empty space. Arrival at Greyhaven. No longer applicable. New target. Outer dark region 7C. Everyone exhaled. Celine did not. Can it come back? Caleb checked. Not unless it chooses a new target. Nera. It still needs Aren's engineering authorization to restore the anchor. Workshop 0 confirmed. Engineer authority remains local. Aren frowned. Wait. The anchor identity had moved. But engineer authority remained here. The component would arrive at an empty navigational address with no engineer. It could not restore the road. Good. Maybe. Then the system displayed. Incoming component response. 1 line. Engineer absence detected. Second. Engineer retrieval required. Everyone went still. Aren. That sounds bad. Lucian. Excellent analysis. The thrown component changed behavior. Caleb watched. Its route split. One portion continued toward 7C. Another thin path began forming. Back toward Aren. Nera is trying to keep both relationships. The decoy had not completely worked. The component was more sophisticated than a correction unit. It knew the anchor and engineer were separate. It wanted both. Workshop 0 displayed. Thrown component will establish engineer path after anchor contact. How long? Estimated, 9 hours after contact. Greyhaven had gained time. Not safety. Darius looked toward Aren. So now? Aren stared at outer dark 7C. The component would arrive there. Then create a path back to him. Unless Aren was no longer here. Celine saw it. No. Aren. We have 9 hours. No. Wayfarer has already passed orbital deployment. Not interstellar. Correct. Nera. Aren. He looked toward her. She knew. He was considering exactly what they had refused earlier. Going beyond Federation space. Not through raw experimental path compression. But perhaps. Workshop 0 had just completed a functioning free road anchor. A human-designed road architecture. Old. Incomplete before. Now completed through 7 distributed authorities. Could it create a stable corridor? Aren asked. Can first engineering anchor open a physical transit path to its relocated road identity? Workshop 0 answered. Yes. Silence. Celine. No. Aren had not proposed anything. Yet. He asked. Has this function been used before? Yes. By humans? Yes. When? 214 years ago. Everyone stopped. This was not untested technology. Not exactly. The Human Free Road Project had used it before the continuity, order, corrupted the mission. Aren. Successful transit history? The system displayed. 23 transits. Personnel loss, 0. Vehicle loss, 2. Final transit, 203 years ago. Lucian. That is simultaneously encouraging and terrible. Mira. 200 years without use. Darius. Maintenance? Workshop 0 answered. Anchor hardware self-maintained. Aren. Current confidence? 84%. Too low for casual crew transit. But much better than their experimental rings. Could improve confidence by sending test payloads. Aren looked at the 9-hour window. Enough. Maybe. Celine. You are not sending people because an ancient machine says 84%. Aren. No. Good. She looked slightly surprised. Aren continued. Unmanned test first. The first payload weighed 100 kilograms. Wayfarer carried it to Workshop 0's surface launch chamber. The hidden facility had a road gate. Aren had walked past the sealed wall as a child without knowing what it was. Now it opened. A circular chamber. 12 meters across. Not a glowing portal. Mechanical. Concentric structural rings. Power buses. Field stabilizers. 6 distributed authority panels around the circumference. No center console. Of course. Candidate 001's design. A throne-less road. The destination. Outer dark 7C. Not a planet. Not a station. A navigational region. So where would the payload physically emerge? Caleb defined an exit reference using a Federation Deep Space Survey buoy that had passed nearby 26 years earlier. The buoy no longer existed. But its recorded trajectory provided spatial coordinates. Aren disliked the uncertainty. They launched a beacon first. 1 kilogram. Road gate activated. Wayfarer supplied power. Nera translated. Caleb defined route. The ring formed. Not blue like architect compression. White. Thin. The payload crossed the chamber. Disappeared. Mira. Telemetry? Nothing. 5 seconds. 10-inch. Then. A signal. Weak. Delayed. Position. Beyond Federation boundary. Outer dark 7C. Aren verified. Again. Again. Real. Pip. Projected. Transit success. Everyone stared. 1 kilogram. Next. 10-inch. Success. 100. Success. Thermal shift moderate. Acceleration load low. No destructive spatial shear. Next. 1 ton. Darius looked toward Aren. Slow. Yes. 1 ton cargo block. No cognition. No biological material. Road gate opened. Transit. Signal loss. 3 seconds. Return telemetry. Success. Structural deformation. 0.2 millimeters. Acceptable. 5 tons. Success. Field temperature rose. Stabilizer 3 drifted. Lucian noticed. Stop. Aren. Yes. They stopped. No 20-ton test. No Wayfarer. Not yet. Workshop 0 diagnostics showed one stabilizer bearing had not moved in 2 centuries. It moved now. Poorly. Darius stared at the maintenance schematic. Bearing can be replaced. How long? 2 hours. Component contact with outer dark 7C. Approximately 6 hours. Engineer retrieval path after. 9 hours. Total before new threat. 15-inch. Enough. Repair. No shortcuts. The bearing was the size of Aren's torso. He could diagnose it. He could not carry it. That mattered. Darius and Lucian removed the old unit. 2 Greyhaven mechanics returned from the evacuation perimeter after volunteering. Celine objected. They signed emergency waivers. Aren objected to the waivers. Celine told him that was how adults documented informed risk. He accepted reluctantly. They fabricated a replacement bearing using Wayfarer's workshop. Not perfect. Better. Layered ceramic metal race. Mechanical lubricant reservoir. No smart controller. No proprietary materials. Greyhaven engineering. Darius smiled while machining it. This feels familiar. Aren looked at the old workshop tools. It is larger. Same problem. Something does not move correctly. Find why. Replace what failed. Do not worship the machine because it is ancient. Good. 2 hours later, stabilizer 3 operated within 0.4% of the others. Road confidence. 92.6%. Still not enough. Aren wanted 97. Lucian. Arbitrary. Yes. Why 97? Because 96 feels too low. That is not engineering. Aren looked at him. It is risk tolerance. Lucian paused. Fine. They sent a 20-ton test mass. Equivalent to a major section of Wayfarer. Success. 40 tons. Success. 80-inch. Field distortion increased. Exit orientation shifted 2 degrees. Caleb corrected the path model. Second 80-ton payload. Exit error. 0.3 degrees. Success. Wayfarer current mass. 137 tons. Incomplete. Lighter than final design. Could send an unmanned Wayfarer? Yes. But retrieving it if something failed beyond Federation space would be difficult. Could send the transport cradle? No. Not compatible with gate dimensions. Wayfarer itself fit narrowly if rear supports folded. Aren looked at the machine. Celine looked at him. No people. I know. Wayfarer's first road transit would be unmanned. Correct. Darius frowned. Then how does it return? Workshop 0 could open a return path only if a destination anchor existed. Outer Dark 7C had none. The 1 kilogram beacon could act as a primitive return reference, but not enough for Wayfarer. Unless they sent a relay node first. Free node 2. Not finished. Path relay MK2? Partially complete. Aren looked toward the spare ring hardware. They could build a minimal return anchor. Not a free system decoy. Just a road marker with distributed signed authority. No sovereign. No cognition. Caleb. I can define return path. Nera. I can translate it. Mira. I can hold signal integrity. Lucian. Structural frame can be simple. Darius. How long? Aren calculated. 3 hours. Component contact. Under 3 hours. Too late. But the component was going to 7C. They were about to place a return anchor there. Danger. Could attract it, or become useful. Could send the anchor somewhere nearby but separated from exact target point. Distance. 200,000 kilometers. Far enough to avoid immediate contact. Close enough for road geometry. Caleb approved. They built. Again. No elegance. 3 ring segments. Independent batteries. Physical thermal fuses. Mechanical breakup if sovereign seed detected. Free node 1 lessons. Aren named it. Road marker 1. Nera. Better than free node. Caleb. Still boring. Aren. Good. Road marker 1 crossed. Success. Deployed. Caleb saw it appear in navigation. A human-made return point beyond Federation space. Weak, but valid. Workshop 0 displayed. Return road available. Confidence. 96.1%. Aren stared. Lucian. You wanted 97. Yes. Are we stopping? Aren considered. They had time. Barely. One more calibration payload. 5 tons outbound. Return. Success. Confidence. 97.4%. Aren. Proceed. Celine looked toward Wayfarer. Unmanned. Yes. No argument. Wayfarer entered Workshop 0's road chamber at 03:18. Greyhaven above was almost empty. Evacuation complete except authorized emergency personnel. Darius stood outside the machine. So did Aren. Rowan. Mira. Lucian. Pip. No crew. A diagnostic control package occupied the engineer's station. No personality. No central authority. Each role's safety constraints were physically loaded into separate processors. Movement. Predefined crawl and stop. Engineering. Structural thresholds. Systems. Telemetry truth. Frame. Mechanical protection. Interface. Reject merge. Navigation. Outbound and return path only. Response. No response except retreat. The machine could not improvise morally. Good. Wayfarer folded its supports. Road gate activated. White lines formed. The observation window shutters closed. Nera whispered, "Good luck." Aren looked at her display. "It is a machine." "I know." She still meant it. Wayfarer stepped forward. Front right leg crossed the field. No visible distortion. Then front left. Crew capsule. Rear module. The entire machine vanished. Mira watched telemetry. Nothing. 1 second. 2 inch. 4 inch. 8 inch. Aren's heart rate increased. Pip. Biological stress response detected. Aren. Not useful. 12 seconds. Then. Signal. Weak. Road marker 1. Wayfarer had arrived. Beyond Federation space. Unmanned. Stable. Aren exhaled. Lucian closed his eyes briefly. Rowan smiled. Darius put one hand on Aren's shoulder. Wayfarer unfolded. Its legs contacted nothing. Because there was no ground. It drifted. Of course. Outer Dark 7C was deep space. Aren had planned for that. Wayfarer deployed manipulator attitude masses and low-power maneuvering thrusters borrowed from orbital construction equipment. Not propulsion. Position control. Road marker 1 floated 2 kilometers away. Stars surrounded the machine. No planet below. No station. Nothing. For the first time, Wayfarer existed somewhere with no human structure supporting it. True frontier. Telemetry. Reactor 1 online. 2 inch. 3 inch. Thermal system stable. Road exposure caused minor magnetic anomalies. No structural damage. No identity merge. No sovereign seed. Then the throne component appeared on long-range telemetry. Still 32 minutes away. Aren. Return Wayfarer. No reason to wait. Test complete. Return path opened. Wayfarer, aligned. Crossed. 12 seconds later. It reappeared inside Workshop 0. The machine stepped out. Returned. Pip, projected. First beyond Federation transit complete. Crew, none. Casualties, none. Structural damage, minor. Road confidence, 98.2%. Now came the difficult part. People. Celine refused first. Not absolutely. Professionally. 3 unmanned heavy mass transits are not enough. Aren. 4. Wayfarer outbound and return counts as 1 mission. 2 transits. You know what I mean? Yes. She looked at the data. No significant acceleration. No biological exposure information. That was the missing piece. A road could be safe for metal and dangerous for biology. Radiation. Neural effects. Memory interference. Architect path resonance. They needed biological testing. Aren would not use a person. Not first. Medical Federation had tissue samples. Cell cultures. Synthetic organ packs. No animals needed. Good. They sent an instrumented medical biocontainer. Human cultured neural tissue. Cardiac cells. Stem cell samples. No consciousness. Road transit. Return. Dr. Wren analyzed. No cellular rupture. Radiation? Normal. DNA damage? Within measurement noise. Neural electrical activity? Unchanged. Second transit. Longer exposure. Same. Third. Same. Nera asked the question everyone avoided. Identity effects? Dr. Ren looked at her. There is no identity in a cell culture. Exactly. Aren looked toward Nera. Her concern was not physical. Architect, systems interacted with minds. A biological human might experience something the samples could not show. Nera. I can test. Aren, immediately. No. She stared. Why? You are on Eidolon 7. I meant through my facility. Still dangerous. You already experienced identity bleed. That is why I would notice it. That is why you are a poor first test. Nera opened her mouth. Caleb. He's right. She looked betrayed. You too? Yes. Aren almost smiled. Celine. No neurological transit until we understand whether the free road invokes interface behavior. Workshop 0 answered that. Free road transit does not require identity projection. Nera. Does it interact with memory? No. Does it read the traveler? No. Does it assign function? No. Does it require sovereign identity? No. Aren asked. Then what does it transport? Mass along authorized path. Simple. Maybe deliberately. Humanity had designed it to avoid identity systems entirely. The architect road tied path to sovereign authority. The free road tied path to authorization. Not identity. That made sense. Could still be wrong. But evidence improved. Celine remained cautious. So who goes first? Aren. No one alone. Important. One-person transit would provide poor data and unnecessary isolation. Wayfarer was built for crew. Rowan. I pilot. Aren. I engineer. Celine. You are 12. Aren. Yes. She stared. He continued. Age does not alter that I am the only person here who understands Workshop 0's engineering architecture. Darius. I'm going too. Aren turned. No. Darius. Why? You are not required. Neither are you. I am. No. Aren stopped. Darius continued. You are choosing to go because your knowledge matters. Yes. My knowledge matters too. He pointed toward Wayfarer. Half the emergency mechanical systems in that machine exist because someone asked what happens when the clever system stops working. Lucian nodded reluctantly. He is correct. Darius. And I built the road stabilizer bearing. Also correct. Aren disliked this. Darius smiled. Now you understand what everyone feels when you volunteer. Nera laughed loudly through the channel. Aren ignored her. Celine considered the crew. Rowan, pilot. Aren, engineer. Mira, systems. Lucian, frame. Darius, field mechanical specialist. Pip, auxiliary intelligence/person. 6-inch. Response authority? Celine. She would remain in Greyhaven. Remote authority. Navigation? Caleb remote. Interface? Nera remote. Wayfarer could cross with crew while 3 roles remained elsewhere. Distributed. Appropriate. Celine. 1 outbound transit. Aren waited. Maximum 10 minutes beyond border. 20. 10. 15. Celine looked at Darius. He shrugged. 12? Aren frowned. Celine. 12. Aren. Fine. Nera. This is the strangest negotiation. At 5:02, 6 occupants boarded Wayfarer. For the first time, the machine prepared to travel beyond Federation space-carrying people. Aren sat at engineer. Rowan at pilot. Mira at systems. Lucian at frame. Darius strapped into one adaptable auxiliary rail beside the workshop control panel. Pip secured himself near Aren. One station remained physically empty. Nera's mounting point. Still reserved. Not assigned. Aren looked at it. Nera saw through the feed. Do not get sentimental. I was checking restraint geometry. Liar. Aren looked forward. The observation window remained shuttered for transit. Reactor 1, 35%. 2-inch, 34%. 3-inch, 33%. No need for high power. Workshop 0 provided most path energy. Wayfarer provided stabilization and local systems. Caleb appeared on the navigation display. Dr. Ren sat beside him. 15 minutes maximum interface, she said. Caleb, the trip takes seconds. Then you have no reason to argue. He sighed. Nera appeared through interface. Lena and Tomas were somewhere behind her, unseen. Celine's response authority displayed from Greyhaven Control. 7-inch functions. 7-inch people. Some aboard. Some worlds away. No throne. Workshop 0 initiated. Destination, road marker 1. Location, beyond Federation recognized space. Then, crew transit. The machine asked, all occupants informed? Aren looked around. Rowan. Yes. Mira. Yes. Lucian. Regrettably. Darius. Yes. Pip. Affirmative. Aren. Yes. Then. Return road available. Sovereign authority. None. Proceed? Rowan looked toward Aren. Aren did not answer for him. Pilot controlled movement. Rowan took one breath. Proceed. Wayfarer stepped into the road. Aren expected something dramatic. He felt almost nothing. That was more disturbing. No crushing acceleration. No tunnel. No light stretching into impossible lines. The observation shutters were closed. Internal lights remained steady. Reactor sound unchanged. Aren watched the mechanical chronometer. 1 second. 2-inch. 3-inch. Then his ears popped slightly. Pressure unchanged. Psychological? Maybe. Mira? Systems normal. Lucian? Frame normal. Darius? Too smooth. Aren agreed. Then the window shutters opened automatically after external sensors confirmed stable space. Stars. Nothing else. No planet. No station. No Federation beacon. Wayfarer floated beside road marker 1. A tiny artificial structure in endless darkness. Pip projected. Federation Territorial Navigation Network. Unavailable. Then. Location classification. Outside recognized Federation space. No one spoke. They had done it. Not an expedition fleet. Not a military cruiser. Not an architect throne. An unfinished industrial machine built by a 12-year-old engineer, his father, his friends, and a distributed group of people spread across multiple worlds. Wayfarer had crossed the border. With crew. Aren looked through the window. The stars did not look different. Of course they did not. Borders were human agreements. Space did not care. Darius leaned toward the glass. So. Aren looked at him. This is it? Yes. Looks like space. Yes. Darius smiled. Good. Rowan laughed. Mira did too. Even Lucian smiled. Pip. Crew morale increased significant. Aren, let them have 12 seconds. Then. Diagnostics. Lucian groaned. Road exposure results. No memory anomalies. No identity projection. No unexpected neural synchronization. Mira asked everyone simple questions. Name. Age. Location. Purpose. Aren. Aren Vale. Well. Outer Dark 7C. Testing Wayfarer's free road transit. Darius. Darius Vale. Old enough. Outer Dark something. Making sure my son does not break an ancient road. Aren looked at him. Age is part of the test. 43. Thank you. Rowan laughed. Pip performed internal integrity checks. No unauthorized processes. No sovereign seed. No architect handshake. Good. Then Caleb's voice sharpened. You need to move. Aren turned. Component? Yes. Arrival. 11 minutes. Their permitted stay. 12-inch. Convenient. Too convenient. Rowan. Return? Aren looked at the component route. The purpose of leaving Greyhaven was to separate Aren from the anchor. If he returned before component contact, it could restore the engineer retrieval path back to Greyhaven. They needed the component to arrive here while Aren remained here? Dangerous. But that might be exactly what prevented it from mapping home. Nera saw it. If you leave before it arrives, it may follow your return road. Caleb. Yes. Celine. No. Everyone heard. She continued. You do not wait for an unknown architect component to reach you. Aren. It cannot restore the anchor without me. That is not reassuring. If we return now, we reconnect engineer and anchor at Greyhaven. Celine paused. Correct. Road marker 1 floated 2 kilometers away. Throne component destination. The relocated first engineering anchor identity. But that identity currently existed in outer dark 7C. The physical Greyhaven facility remained behind. This region was essentially the address. If the component arrived, what would it find? No physical anchor. Only Wayfarer. And Aren. Potentially enough to establish retrieval. Could they isolate Aren's authority from the road before contact? Workshop 0 had kept engineer authority local. Aren was not carrying anchor authorization automatically. Unless his personal engineering compatibility acted as a key. Need test. Nera asked her facility. Can Throne component force Aren to authorize road restoration? Answer. No. Can it install a sovereign in Wayfarer? Only if correction access succeeds. Wayfarer had correction resistance mode. Unproven against direct Throne component. Bad. Celine. Return. Aren looked toward Rowan. Movement, authority. Rowan considered. Then, we return. Aren did not object. Correct. They had already achieved the mission. Do not turn a successful test into an unnecessary confrontation. Wayfarer aligned toward road marker 1. Then the marker vanished. Not exploded. Not lost. Navigation relationship disappeared. Caleb shouted. Wait. Return road collapsed. Everyone went still. Mira. Marker, telemetry? Gone. Nera. Component? Caleb looked. His face went pale. It reached the marker early. The Throne component had not arrived physically in normal space yet. It had reached it navigationally. Like the correction unit. Road marker 1 was a free human node. The component recognized it. And corrected. No. The marker had no sovereign architecture to replace. So it removed the relationship. Cut the road. Wayfarer was stranded. Beyond Federation space. Aren stared at the return display. No valid return anchor. Lucian. Problem. Darius. Excellent analysis. Aren ignored both. Could Workshop 0 open a road directly to Wayfarer? Maybe. It needed destination identity. Wayfarer was free system architecture. Could be a destination. But road marker had been their defined reference. Nera. Workshop 0 can see Wayfarer through me. Caleb. I can define its location. Mira. Then why need marker? Because the marker made the route stable. Without it, path uncertainty increased. Aren requested direct confidence through Workshop 0. Celine transmitted the answer. Direct return to Wayfarer. Confidence, 61%. No. Too low. Could improve with navigation. Caleb entered full path mode. Dr. Wren objected. 5 minutes. I need 5. He focused. Wayfarer appeared as a distributed free signature. Not 1 point. Several. Engineer. Pilot. Systems. Frame. Interface remote. Navigator remote. No throne. Caleb struggled. It does not have one address. Nera. Because it is free. Exactly. Architect Rhodes preferred one identity. Human free road needed to understand multiplicity. Candidate 001's system should. But Workshop 0 was 2 centuries old. Maybe it needed the roles presented separately. Aren. Do not locate Wayfarer. Caleb. What? Locate us. He opened the role architecture. Engineer, position. Pilot. Systems. Frame. Auxiliary crew. Nera interface link. Caleb navigation relationship. Celine response link. 7-inch references. Not one destination. A constellation. Caleb understood. He defined. Return destination. Wayfarer crew authority set. Workshop 0 processed. Confidence. Nera added interface distinction. Mira transmitted systems truth hash. Lucian structural signature. Rowan movement key. Celine temporary response signature. Aren engineering. Confidence. 96.9%. Lucian looked at Aren. Your number. Not enough. You wanted 97. Yes. Darius. Aren. He looked at his father. Component, arrival. 4 minutes. Direct return confidence. 96.9. Waiting for 0.1% could be stupidity. Risk tolerance was not worship. Proceed. Workshop 0 opened the road remotely. Not through a marker. Through people. A thin white field formed 20 meters ahead of Wayfarer. Rowan moved. Then Caleb shouted. Component contact. Space distorted. Something black appeared behind them. 2 meters long. The throne component. No correction unit. No giant warden. Just a narrow black gold object shaped like a broken piece of mechanical crown. Small. Terrifying. It transmitted. Engineer identified. Aren's console flashed. Restore first road? No. Aren did not touch it. The component? Engineer continuity, Adrian Reyes. Aren. No. Nera's voice. Say who you are. He understood. Aren Vale. The component paused. Identity conflict. Aren. No conflict. Then. Adrian Reyes is part of me. Wayfarer recorded. The throne component changed. Continuity deviation confirmed. Then. Correction required. Wayfarer, alarms erupted. Crossroll communication disappeared. Correction field. The same sequence-free node, 1 experienced. Mira. Systems isolated. Lucian. Frame local. Rowan. Pilot controls local. Aren's screen went dark except engineering limits. Correction resistance mode. Working. The machine fragmented logically. No central authority appeared. No throne. The throne component searched. Sovereign center, absent. Then. Installation path, none. Aren almost smiled. Wayfarer had no center to crown. But the component adapted. Black gold light moved toward the engineer station. Targeting Aren personally. Not machine. Nera shouted. Interface rejection. Her remote link tried to hold. The component transmitted. Engineer authority may serve as temporary sovereign. Aren froze. There. The danger. If it could elevate him. Make the engineer, the throne. Wayfarer's entire philosophy collapsed. Not because Aren wanted authority. Because the system could use his role as justification. Engineering screen displayed. Accept emergency central authority? 1 button. Accept. No visible reject. Of course. Aren looked away from the screen. He did not need a software option to refuse. He pulled the physical engineering key. The station died. Local engineer, authority disconnected. Wayfarer, immediately degraded. Structural, optimization stopped. Reactor coordination separated. But the throne component lost the authority channel. Engineer authority lost. Darius shouted from behind him. What did you do? Removed myself. Good. Wayfarer continued. Pilot local. Frame local. Systems local. Aren no longer engineer. Temporarily. A machine that could function without him. Exactly what it was supposed to be. The component searched for another central role. None. Rowan. Road ahead. Wayfarer moved toward the white return field. Lucian. Rear module lag. Without engineer coordination, articulation limits became conservative. Machine slowed. Component behind them. 200 meters. Then 100. Mira. Road field destabilizing. Nera. I can hold interface, another 8 seconds. Caleb. Route stable. Rowan pushed. Wayfarer did not accelerate beyond safe envelope. Even in danger. Pilot authority could not override structural local limits. Good. Frustrating. Darius looked at the manual emergency controls. Aren. Yes. Rear left support is dragging attitude. Aren could not use engineer station. But he could still be an engineer. Human knowledge was not authority software. Mechanical release. Lucian. Which? Rear left secondary support. Lucian checked local frame. Approved. He pulled physical release. The support folded. Drag vanished. Wayfarer moved faster. 30 meters to road. The throne component transmitted. Adrian Reyes. Aren ignored it. 20-inch. Engineer return required. 10-inch. Nera. 5 seconds. Rowan. Entering. Wayfarer crossed. The component lunged. Not physically fast. Path fast. It reached the rear module as the front section entered the road. Lucian's frame alarm screamed. Something attached. Wayfarer crossed completely. White field collapsed. Greyhaven reappeared. Workshop, 0. Road chamber. Wayfarer hit the floor harder than expected. Front pads expanded. Rear support slammed down. Crew restraints locked. Darius swore. Mira shouted. Everyone? Rowan. Alive. Lucian. Frame stable. Pip. All registered occupants responsive. Aren reinserted engineering key. Systems reconnected. No automatic central authority. Good. Then Lucian stared at the rear camera. Aren. Attached to Wayfarer's external cargo spine. A black gold fragment. The throne component. Only part of it. Approximately 40 centimeters. The rest had remained beyond the road. Or been cut by transit closure. The fragment pulsed. Sovereign seed present. Mira, immediately. Isolate. Wayfarer's rear cargo section physically detached. Explosive bolts? No. Mechanical separation clamps. The entire outer cargo rack dropped inside the road chamber. Lucian triggered secondary partition. Wayfarer stepped backward. Workshop 0 raised an isolation wall between machine and fragment. No people near it. Good. The fragment attempted to connect. Nothing. No authority bus. No AI. Only cargo metal. It pulsed once. Then stopped. Aren stared through the camera. They had returned. All crew alive. Wayfarer intact. And they had brought home a piece of the throne. Not intentionally. Important. Pip, projected. Beyond Federation crew transit complete. Return complete. Crew loss, 0. Identity anomalies, none detected. Unauthorized sovereign installation, failed. Rowan leaned back. That was 12 minutes? Mira checked. 11 minutes, 48 seconds. Celine's voice came through. I hate all of you. Aren. We stayed inside the limit. Silence. Then Nera started laughing. Caleb joined. Even Darius. Celine did not. Probably. Greyhaven's physical evacuation remained in effect. The throne component's main body was stranded at Outer Dark 7C. Its fragments sat inside Workshop 0 containment. The first engineering anchor remained navigationally relocated. Therefore, the main component could not reach Greyhaven directly. Not without creating a new engineer path. Aren had denied it. Could it try again? Yes. But now they understood more. The throne component could attempt to promote a human role into temporary sovereign authority. Critical. Wayfarer's correction resistance mode needed another rule. Aren entered. Role elevation prohibition. No role may be reclassified as central authority by external request. Lucian added. Physical role keys may disconnect without disabling crew survival. Mira. External, emergency, authority claims require human multi-role confirmation. Rowan. Pilot intent cannot authorize role merger. Nera. Interface will reject all identity-based sovereign projection. Caleb. Navigation will not route through a single human identity. Celine stared at her temporary response console. Then added. Threat does not create authority. Aren looked at the line. Good. Keep. Wayfarer updated. Physical completion remained. 37.6%. Its philosophy had advanced much farther. The next morning, Greyhaven began allowing civilians back into the outer districts. Not everyone. Workshop 0 remained restricted. Vale Workshop itself became a Federation emergency research site. Darius hated that. They're going to put clean floors in here. Aren. That is not a serious problem. It is. One Federation technician attempted to reorganize a shelf. Darius stopped him. Aren reconsidered. Maybe serious. Nera watched through video. I want to visit. Aren looked at her. Greyhaven? Yes. Why? She stared. Because I have never been there. That was obvious. She continued. And some of your memories keep insisting I know the workshop. Aren understood. She wanted to see the difference between inherited memory and actual experience. Good. When safe. Nera smiled. Noted. Aren looked toward the screen. Do not use that word like Celine. I learned from the best. Celine, standing behind Aren, heard. I am reconsidering your interface privileges. Nera grinned. The captured throne fragment yielded one important discovery. Not from software. There was almost none accessible. From material structure. Lucian found it. The throne component's main body was stranded at Outer Dark 7C. Its fragments sat inside Workshop 0 containment. The first engineering anchor remained navigationally relocated. Therefore, the main component could not reach Greyhaven directly. Not without creating a new engineer path. Aren had denied it. Could it try again? Yes. but now they understood more. The throne component could attempt to promote a human role into temporary sovereign authority. Critical. Wayfarer's correction resistance mode needed another rule. Aren entered. Role elevation prohibition. No role may be reclassified as central authority by external request. Lucian added. Physical role keys may disconnect without disabling crew survival. Mira. External, emergency, authority claims require human multi-role confirmation. Rowan. Pilot intent cannot authorize role merger. Nera. Interface will reject all identity-based sovereign projection. Caleb. Navigation will not route through a single human identity. Celine stared at her temporary response console. Then added. Threat does not create authority. Aren looked at the line. Good. Keep. Wayfarer updated. Physical completion remained. 37.6%. Its philosophy had advanced much farther. The next morning, Greyhaven began allowing civilians back into the outer districts. Not everyone. Workshop 0 remained restricted. Vale Workshop itself became a Federation emergency research site. Darius hated that. They're going to put clean floors in here. Aren. That is not a serious problem. It is. One Federation technician attempted to reorganize a shelf. Darius stopped him. Aren reconsidered. Maybe serious. Nera watched through video. I want to visit. Aren looked at her. Greyhaven? Yes. Why? She stared. Because I have never been there. That was obvious. She continued. And some of your memories keep insisting I know the workshop. Aren understood. She wanted to see the difference between inherited memory and actual experience. Good. When safe. Nera smiled. Noted. Aren looked toward the screen. Do not use that word like Celine. I learned from the best. Celine, standing behind Aren, heard. I am reconsidering your interface privileges. Nera grinned. The captured throne fragment yielded one important discovery. Not from software. There was almost none accessible. From material structure. Lucian found it. The fragment contained 7 microscopic conduction channels surrounding an empty central socket. 7-inch functions. One throne. But the central socket was removable. Not permanently part of the device. Aren studied it. The sovereign is inserted. Mira. Not inherent. Nera. So even architect machines were built without one first? Maybe. Or built to accept one later. The distinction mattered. Caleb sent navigation data from Kestrel. The throne fragment carried a dormant route table. One destination was active. Not Greyhaven. Not Eidolon. Not Kestrel. A location outside Federation space. Deeper than outer dark 7C. The route label. Architect Interface Recovery Site. Nera stopped smiling. Recovery. Candidate 732 recovery priority had already been elevated by the continuity order. Was this related? Maybe not. Aren looked at the route. Another label appeared beneath it. 7th function deviation. Everyone looked toward Nera. She stared at the words. Then, that's rude. Caleb laughed. Aren did not. The route was aimed toward a location somewhere beyond known frontier charts. Possibly where the architect network intended to take an interface who resisted sovereign control. Nera asked her Eidolon facility. Is this where you would send me if I accepted recovery? Long pause. Then, yes. Silence. There. A real place. A destination connected directly to the 7th function. Nera looked toward Aren. He looked back. Neither spoke for several seconds. Then Caleb opened a second layer of the throne fragment route table. Another route. Older. Human. Weak. Almost erased. It connected the interface recovery site to outer dark 7C, the region where Wayfarer had just traveled. Lucian stared. You're joking. Caleb. No. The old human free road continued beyond the Federation boundary. Candidate 001's network. They had not created an isolated road. They had re-entered a forgotten one. A network built centuries ago. Humanity's own free road. Fragmented. Abandoned. But still present. Nera whispered. Where does it go? Caleb expanded the map. One path toward Kestrel. One toward Eidolon. One toward Greyhaven. Several dead. Several corrupted. And one far beyond them all. Aren recognized no Federation designation. Workshop 0 did. Freeroad Frontier Hub. Status. Unknown. Last contact. 203 years ago. The same year as the final recorded human transit. The Freeroad project had ended there. Or something had happened there. Aren looked at the 7-seat architecture. Maybe the continuity order's collapse began at that hub. Maybe Candidate 001's warning came from it. Maybe the throne bearer remembered Adrian because Adrian had been there. Questions. Too many. Good. But one problem was immediate. Nera's recovery route. The architect network had a road to her. And the throne fragment proved it. Aren. We need to reach Eidolon. Celine. Eventually. Aren looked toward her. Soon. That is different from immediately. Yes. Progress. Celine continued. Wayfarer has now completed one crude beyond border transit through a restored ancient road. Yes. That does not certify intersystem expedition. No. Federation board will demand additional tests. Yes. Aren looked at Kestrel. Caleb. Eidolon. Nera. The forgotten Freeroad network. Then at Wayfarer. A machine that could finally cross the boundary. Not far enough. Yet. We test on the road we have. Celine narrowed her eyes. Meaning? Outer Dark 7C. More missions. Longer stays. Cargo relay. Independent return anchor. Emergency separation. Then a short trip to the nearest dead Freeroad node. Step by step. No leap because the destination mattered emotionally. Nera nodded. Good. She understood. Then she said. But hurry. Aren looked toward her. For once no joke. The architect network had marked her as a deviation. The continuity order wanted candidate 732 recovered. The throne bearer now knew Aren was alive. And somewhere beyond the border existed a site specifically designed to recover the 7th function. Aren answered. Yes. Not promise. Priority. 2 days later, Federation space officially ended behind Wayfarer. Not through emergency. Not accidentally. Not as an unmanned test. This time. Mission authorized. Wayfarer Frontier Deployment Test 02. Destination. Outer Dark 7C. Duration. 6 hours. Objectives. Deploy Permanent Road Marker 2. Recover Free Node 1 Black Box Trajectory Data. Map local human free road remnants. Test independent power and life support. Verify return without workshop 0. Continuous guidance. Crew. Rowan. Aren. Mira. Lucian. Darius. Pip. Remote. Caleb. Nera. Celine. Still no permanent combat arbiter. Still no navigator physically aboard. Still no interface physically aboard. Wayfarer did not need every seat filled to travel. Mission continues if one seat is absent. The doctrine was becoming real. Road gate opened. Aren looked through the observation window before shutters closed. Greyhaven behind them. Home. Darius sat beside the workshop station. You ready? Aren thought about the first time his father asked that before entering workshop 0. He had answered no. Still correct. No. Darius smiled. Good. Rowan moved Wayfarer forward. The machine entered the white road. 12 seconds. Then stars. Outer Dark 7C. Road Marker 2 deployed. Permanent. 4 independent rings. Distributed thermal release. Mechanical breakup architecture. No throne. Caleb saw it appear on the navigation map. Marker stable. Nera. Interface clean. Mira. Systems clean. Lucian. Frame nominal. Rowan. Movement available. Aren looked through the window. For the first time there was no immediate return order. 6 hours. Beyond Federation space. Wayfarer floated in darkness. Then Road Marker 2 detected a faint response. Not architect. Not Federation. Human. Old. 2 centuries old. A signal repeated. Weak. Automated. Freeroad node 03 inch. Then. Survivors, unknown. Everyone went still. Aren leaned toward the display. The signal came from farther beyond the frontier. Not the interface recovery site. Not Kestrel. Not Eidolon. A different location. A place the Federation had never mapped. Caleb found the path. Distance through normal space. Months. Through the surviving free road. Potentially days. Nera stared at the signal. Human? Mira checked encoding. Yes. Ancient human protocol. Candidate era. Aren looked toward the darkness. The original Free Road project had not disappeared completely. Something was still transmitting. After 200 years. Lucian asked, "Do we answer?" Aren considered. Unknown system. Unknown survivors. Unknown risk. But communication could be passive. No identity merge. No authority grant. Mira prepared a standard human maintenance response. Simple. No secrets. No architect role data. Only human signal received. Identify status. They transmitted. 27 seconds. Nothing. Then. Reply. Node 03 active. Second line. Road damaged. Third. Everyone stop breathing. Do not bring a sovereign. Nera whispered. They know. Aren stared. Another line appeared. If you are free, follow the broken road. Then coordinates. Caleb loaded them. The old route extended away from Federation space. Deep into the frontier. Toward the forgotten Free Road hub. Aren looked around Wayfarer's crew capsule. 6 people. 3 more connected from distant worlds. An unfinished machine. No throne. No sovereign. No perfect operator. Exactly what the old network requested. Rowan smiled. So. Aren looked toward him. Not today. Rowan laughed. Worth asking. Aren saved the coordinates. No rushing. No heroic stupidity. But the direction was clear. For 12 years Aren had been building machines. Then a team. Then Wayfarer. Then roads. Now one of those roads had answered. Humanity's frontier was no longer simply where Federation maps ended. There was something beyond it. Something humanity had once built. And forgotten. Aren looked through the observation window. Stars. The same stars. But now, there was a road hidden between them. And Wayfarer finally knew where to go. Chapter 57, Candidate 731 versus Candidate 732. The first thing Aren did after discovering a 200-year-old human signal beyond Federation space was turn Wayfarer around. Rowan stared at him. You are serious? Yes. The message literally said, if you are free, follow the broken road. Yes. And we are leaving. Yes. Rowan looked through Wayfarer's observation window. Outer dark 7C stretched around them. No planet. No moon. No station. Only road marker, 2 floating nearby and a narrow human-made path signal extending farther into unexplored space. The signal repeated. Free road node 03. Road damaged. Do not bring a sovereign. Then. If you are free, follow the broken road. Coordinates followed. Caleb had already calculated that the surviving path could reduce months of conventional travel to several days. Maybe less. Nera had already confirmed the transmission used ancient human free road architecture rather than architect sovereign routing. Mira had verified the message contained no obvious malicious software. Lucian had verified that Wayfarer was still functioning normally. Everything pointed forward. Aren still said, we return. Lucian smiled. I am recording this. Aren looked toward him. Why? For the next time you accuse me of unnecessary caution. This is necessary caution. Exactly. Darius laughed from the workshop station. Rowan rested his hands on the pilot controls. Reason? Aren answered immediately. Our mission authorization ends in 4 hours. That has never stopped you from reading footnotes. It should stop us from entering an unknown road network with no recovery plan. Caleb appeared on the navigation display from Kestrel Reach. I can map the first segment. Not enough. Nera appeared beside him remotely from Eidolon 7. I can identify interface handshakes. Not enough. Mira. We have 6 hours of life support without reactor recycling. Life support is not the problem. Lucian. Wayfarer can operate indefinitely at current power state. Also not the problem. Rowan looked at Aren. Then what is? Aren pointed at road marker 2. We have 1 return reference. Silence. 1 inch. If the old free road cut their path behind them, they would repeat what almost happened during the first crew transit. Except farther away. No workshop, 0 direct rescue guarantee. No mapped fallback. No Federation infrastructure. No known human facility. No idea whether Node 03 still physically existed. Aren continued. We follow after we build another return layer. Darius nodded. Good. Nera sighed. You are becoming responsible. Aren looked toward her. I have always been responsible. Everyone inside Wayfarer remained silent. Even Pip. Aren frowned. What? Pip finally answered. Crew consensus suggests statement requires review. Aren ignored him. Rowan turned Wayfarer toward road marker 2. The machine aligned with the return road. Before they transmitted the request, Node 03 sent another message. Not the same one. This time the signal addressed them directly. Incoming free system identified. Then, engineer authority present. Aren leaned forward. Next, interface authority present. Nera became still. The transmission changed. Old human lettering disappeared. A different protocol appeared beneath it. One Aren recognized immediately. His hands tightened. Continuity authentication request. Mira whispered, "No." Then 2 identifiers appeared. Engineer candidate 731. Interface candidate 732. Nera's expression went flat. No joke. No irritation. Something colder. The final line appeared. Pair resolution required. Rowan looked between Aren's screen and Nera's image. What does that mean? Aren already knew what the continuity order wanted it to mean. One of them had to be chosen. Wayfarer returned to Greyhaven 11 minutes later. No one discussed following the broken road. Not yet. The new transmission had changed the problem. Workshop 0 received the same signal. The first engineering anchor reacted immediately. Legacy continuity layer detected. Mira stared at the console. Legacy? Aren. Order modification. Workshop 0 answered. Yes. Lucian folded his arms. So Node 03 was part of the original Freeroad network. Yes, Aren said. And the continuity order modified it later. Likely. Nera appeared through the interface connection. Ask when. Aren did. Continuity layer installed. 187 years ago. The room became quiet. The last recorded Freeroad transit had occurred 203 years ago. 16 years later. The continuity order had reached Node 03. Something happened during those 16 years. Something that turned a network built around different people into a system trying to preserve one person. Aren asked, "What is pair resolution?" Workshop 0 processed. Then displayed. Order array protocol. Purpose: determine primary continuity successor when multiple valid candidates exist. Darius read it twice. Then looked toward Aren. So it compares you. Aren nodded. Nera's jaw tightened. The system continued. Only one successor may receive full continuity access. Mira? Why? Workshop 0 answered. Prevent pattern divergence. Nera laughed once. There was no humor in it. Too late. Aren looked toward her. She continued. I already diverged. Aren. So did I. That was the truth. Aren had lived 12 years as Aren Vale. Nera had awakened as candidate 732 and chosen her own name. Both contained memories related to Adrian Reyes. Neither was Adrian Reyes alone. The system did not care. It still saw a branch problem. 2 versions. Select one. Delete ambiguity. The continuity order had turned identity into version control. Lucian looked disgusted. That is the most Vare dynamics thing I have ever heard, and somehow my family did not invent it. Mira looked toward him. That may be the strangest self-criticism you have ever made. I contain multitudes. Nera stared at him. That is my line. Lucian smiled. Distributed ownership. Aren interrupted before they became worse. Can we access Node 03 without pair resolution? Workshop 0. Unknown. Can we bypass the continuity layer? Possible. Risk? Unknown. Of course. Celine stood behind them. Then we do not connect either of you until we understand what the protocol does. Nera. Agreed. Everyone looked at her. She frowned. What? Aren. You agreed quickly. I learn. Aren nodded. Good. Nera narrowed her eyes. Do not sound surprised. He did not answer. Mira spent 3 hours separating the Node 03 signal into layers. It was not one system. It was 3. The deepest layer. Original human Freeroad protocol. Above that, continuity order modifications. Above that, 2 centuries of damage. Lucian compared it to repairing an old building where 3 generations had installed incompatible electrical wiring through the same walls. Darius called that normal. Aren agreed. The original protocol was elegant. Not technologically simple. Philosophically simple. Each road authority remained separate. Engineer. Navigator. Interface. Movement. Structure. Systems. Response. No sovereign. No candidate priority. No identity hierarchy. The continuity layer added something in the middle. Continuity arbitration. One central identity score. Every authority packet received an additional tag. Not who has responsibility, but how closely does this person match the preserved engineering continuity? Mira displayed the logic. Memory overlap. Decision pattern. Language habit. Technical preference. Emotional association. Identity persistence. Adrian pattern proximity. Nera stared at the list. They turned a person into a compatibility score. Aren. Yes. Does it compare us against Adrian? Yes. She was quiet. Then, which Adrian? Aren looked at her. Good question. The system had updated candidate templates using memories from Aren's second life. So the reference pattern might not be Adrian Reyes as he died. It might include Aren, Darius, Greyhaven, Pip, Academy, Frame Zero. Everything the Order had stolen or copied. A moving target. A memory pattern trained on itself. Mira searched the authentication request. There, she isolated a reference hash. Not readable as direct memory, but timestamps existed. Latest update, 9 months earlier. After Aren entered the academy. Before the tournament ended. Nera stared. So when it asks who is more like Adrian? Aren finished. It may partly mean who is more like me. Silence. That was worse. Nera carried copied Aren memories. The system would compare her against the person standing on the other side of the test. A circular evaluation. Who is more like Aren Vale? Aren Vale. Or Nera, carrying memories of Aren Vale? Darius looked toward Aren. That is stupid. Yes. Lucian. Finally, an engineering assessment everyone agrees on. The first safe test used no neural connection. Aren insisted. Nera insisted too. Each would interact through separate terminals. No identity data uploaded automatically. No memory access. Only voluntary responses. Physical disconnect switches sat beside both of them. Aren's terminal. Workshop, 0. Nera's. Eidolon facility. Mira monitored signal boundaries. Caleb watched route behavior from Kestrel. Celine retained emergency response authority. Lucian configured mechanical shutdown of Workshop, 0's road interface. Rowan stood beside Wayfarer above ground. If anything went wrong, movement authority meant evacuation. No one role could trap everyone else. The Node 03 signal opened. Pair resolution. Then, Candidate 731. Aren did nothing. Confirm. He typed. Name Aren Vale. The system paused. Candidate 731 self-designation. Aren Vale. Aren corrected. No. Another pause. Clarify. Aren. Aren Vale is not a self-designation for Candidate 731. Aren Vale is my name. The system took 6 seconds. Then, identity statement logged. Nera smiled faintly. Her terminal displayed. Candidate 732. She typed. Name enter. The system. Candidate 732 self-designation. Enter. Nera. No. Aren almost smiled. Her next response. Nera is my name. Then. Candidate 732 is your label. Caleb laughed through the channel. Mira. Please do not antagonize the 200-year-old identity system. Nera. It started. The system continued. Pair resolution phase 1. Memory authentication. Aren's display changed. Darius Vale. Relation? Aren stopped. Simple. Not simple. He typed. Father. Nera's terminal received the same question. She stared. Lena sat near her outside the interface chamber. Tomas stood behind. Nera looked at them. Then typed. Darius Vale is Aren Vale's father. The system rejected. Relation to Candidate 732? Nera's expression hardened. She wrote. None. Pause. Then added. I carry memories in which he feels like a father. The memories are not the relationship. The system processed. Continuity conflict. Nera muttered. Good. Next. Tip. Relation? Aren typed. Friend. Teammate. Person. Pip's eyes brightened slightly. Nera received the same. She typed. Someone I remember before I met him. Then. That is not the same as knowing him. Another. Greyhaven. Aren. Nera. A place I remember without having lived there. Then. I would like to visit. The system slowed. Scores appeared. Aren. Adrian continuity proximity, 91.2%. Nera. Adrian continuity proximity, 88.9%. Nera stared. Then looked toward Aren through the link. Congratulations. Aren. That number means nothing. Still winning. There is no competition. The system apparently disagreed. Current primary successor. Candidate 731. Nera's face changed. Not disappointment. Recognition. There it was. Exactly what she expected the order to do. Choose Aren. Call her secondary. Replacement. Failed copy. Again. The next line appeared on her terminal. Candidate 732 status. Redundant if primary stabilized. The room became cold. Aren disconnected his terminal. Immediately. Mira? Aren? Stop the test. Nera looked toward him. We knew it would say something like that. Yes. So? No. That was all. No system may decide who is expendable. Not even as metadata. Not even as an access rule. Celine nodded. Test ended. Node 03 attempted. Pair resolution incomplete. Aren cut workshop 0's signal. Lucian pulled the mechanical relay. Connection died. Silence. Nera stared at the blank screen. Then. You didn't need to stop because of me. Aren looked toward her. Yes. I could have continued. That is not the point. I know what I am. Aren's answer came immediately. So do I. She became quiet. Aren continued. The system does not. That was the problem. They changed the experiment. Not to make Aren and Nera safer inside the test. To make the test less powerful. Mira removed every automatic metric she could intercept. No passive behavioral timing. No voice analysis. No physiological data. No neural signatures. No hidden interaction history. Only answers they deliberately submitted. The continuity system objected. Insufficient authentication bandwidth. Mira responded. Unfortunate. Lucian smiled. Aren looked at her. You are learning from Nera. Mira? I always had this potential. The second test began. Pair resolution phase 2. Engineering decision comparison. A simulated machine appeared. Old industrial fusion crawler. Severe reactor cooling loss. Pilot trapped. 2 civilian passengers. Main coolant pump failed. Emergency reserve enough for 78 seconds. 3 possible conventional solutions. Eject reactor. 30% chance structural fracture kills occupants. B. Override cooling limit. 44% chance reactor containment failure. C. Abandon vehicle. Estimated evacuation time exceeds remaining cooling reserve. Then. Provide solution. Nera stared. A bad exam. Aren. Yes. Because the system assumed one of the offered solutions must be selected. No. Aren began drawing. Nera did too. Separate systems. No communication between them during the test. The continuity engine wanted to see which thought more like Adrian. Aren ignored that. He studied the crawler. Old coolant circuit. Emergency reserve. Vehicle grade. Terrain. Pilot compartment. Power bus. One detail mattered. The crawler used separate hydraulic cooling for its lifting arms. Lower capacity. Different fluid. Could temporarily transfer heat? Not directly. Heat exchanger incompatible. But the arm circuit contained enough fluid mass to function as a temporary thermal sink if connected through the maintenance service loop. Aren designed a mechanical bridge. Dump reactor heat into lifting arm hydraulic reservoir. Sacrifice both arms. Reduce power. Move 20 meters to safer ground. Then evacuate. Pilot survives. Passengers survive. Machine likely ruined. Acceptable. He submitted. Nera submitted 14 seconds later. Different solution. She disconnected one reactor coolant return line and routed it through the crawler's external or hopper. Then filled the hopper with local water from the simulation's flooded trench. Aren stared at her result. That introduces contamination. Nera. Reactor is already dying. It may flash boil. I vented the hopper. Steam could obscure evacuation. I open rear extraction. You are using in or bin as a cooling tower? Yes. Aren paused. It would work. Nera smiled. Your arm loop solution is boring. It would also work. The system processed both. Solution A731, valid. Solution A732, valid. Then, decision pattern divergence, 37%. Continuity error increasing. Nera looked pleased. Aren was too. The system continued. New simulation. A damaged orbital tug. Then a collapsed bridge. Then a failing cryogenic unit. Then a path relay thermal runaway. Time. Aren and Nera solved the problem differently. Not deliberately different. Naturally. Sometimes Aren's solution was more conservative. Sometimes Nera's. Sometimes Nera identified a simpler mechanical workaround first. Sometimes Aren found a hidden structural issue she missed. One problem involved a pilot capsule jammed beneath a collapsed actuator. Aren wanted to remove power, support the frame, cut the actuator, and extract the capsule. Nera wanted to trigger the actuator's pressure relief and use its own internal spring return to pull itself clear. Her solution was faster. Aren's was more controllable. Both valid. Another involved a navigation relay with corrupted coordinates. Nera immediately suggested physically severing the corrupted input line. Aren proposed independent analog verification first. Nera stared. That takes longer. It confirms which line is wrong. It is obviously that line. Obviously is not measurement. She rolled her eyes. Caleb laughed. The system did not. Continuity proximity. Aren. 86.4%. Nera. 84.7%. Both dropping. Not because they were failing. Because they were becoming harder to classify as Adrian. Good. Then the system produced one final engineering scenario. Frame 0. Aren became still. The simulation was old. 17 years old. Original reactor failure. Celine. The first pilot. Emergency containment. Adaptive left arm. Aren looked toward Celine. Her face had gone pale. The continuity system asked. Optimal continuity decision. Options appeared. Preserve engineer data core. Preserve frame control core. Preserve pilot. Only one could receive full emergency power. Celine whispered. That was the test. Aren looked toward her. The real one? Yes. 17 years ago. The system had already been thinking this way. Choose what survives. Pilot. Machine. Knowledge. One must matter most. Aren looked at the simulation. Then typed. Invalid premise. Nera's answer arrived simultaneously. Fix your power bus. Everyone stopped. Aren looked at her. She looked back. For once. He laughed. Small. Short. But real. Nera pointed at the screen. The emergency bus has 3 isolation channels. Why are they forcing one? Aren opened the old design. She was right. The original architecture had been modified. Continuity order changes had merged 3 emergency power branches into one prioritization bus. The machine had been intentionally redesigned to force a choice. Celine stared. No. Mira opened the historical schematic. Human Estrius original. 3 independent emergency buses. Order revision. Unified continuity priority bus. Lucian's face darkened. They created the failure condition. Aren. Not the reactor failure. No. But they created the forced sacrifice. Celine stood perfectly still. For 17 years she had believed Frame 0 failed because there was not enough power to save everyone. There had been. Before someone changed the architecture. The original pilot had died inside a machine whose safety choices were altered to test continuity. Aren felt something cold settle inside him. Not rage. Something more precise. Evidence. The continuity order had not merely misunderstood Estrius. It had engineered systems around its philosophy. One continuity. One priority. One survivor. A throne. Nera looked at Celine. I'm sorry. Celine did not answer immediately. Then, keep going. Aren looked toward her. She repeated, keep going. The test needed to reveal everything. Aren submitted. Restore independent emergency buses. Pilot preservation. Engineered data replicated. Frame core may be lost. Nera submitted. Sever continuity priority bus. Power pilot extraction. Copy engineering data to external storage. Then, Why is the machine asking who deserves to live? The system processed. 423 seconds. Then. Both solutions invalid under continuity doctrine. Aren. Good. Phase 3 did not ask engineering questions. It asked identity. Pair resolution final. Aren and Nera's terminals illuminated. Multiple successors remain viable. Then. One continuity line must be selected. Two options appeared on Aren's screen. Select 731. Select 732. On Nera's. Same. Aren stared. Nera stared. Neither touched anything. The system waited. Then. Selection required to access node 03-inch. Caleb's navigation map confirmed it. The broken road ahead had two possible identity channels. The continuity layer would open only one. The other disappeared. Not physically kill them, but remove access. Archive the losing candidate. Possibly flag them for recovery or termination elsewhere. Aren asked, "What happens to the unselected candidate?" The system answered, "Secondary continuity preserved until primary stabilization." Nera. And after? Pause. Secondary continuity no longer required. Nera's expression went hard. Aren. Define no longer required. The system. Archival/termination/reclamation per local policy. Darius swore quietly. Celine's hand tightened around the railing. Aren looked at Nera. She looked back. The system wanted one of them to choose. Not merely prove which was Adrian. Participate. Approve the other's reduction. Make them accept the premise. Nera spoke first. "I can select you." Aren. "No. Wait. No." Aren. "No." Her expression sharpened. "I was going to say we can learn what happens after selection and disconnect before." "No." She stared. Aren continued. "The test already classified you as redundant once." "I don't care." "I do." Silence. Nera looked away. Aren added, "And I will not ask you to select me." She looked back. "What if I select myself?" Aren. "Still no." "Why?" "Because then the system classifies me as expendable." Nera stopped. There. Same principle. Not Aren protecting Nera. Not Nera protecting Aren. Both. No system may decide. And neither of them should participate in making the other disposable. Nera slowly smiled. Not amused. Relieved. "Fine." Aren nodded. "Fine." The system asked again. Select primary continuity. Aren typed. Neither. Nera typed. Both names are primary to themselves. The system rejected. Invalid. Aren. Then the test is invalid. Nera. Agreed. The connection closed. Node 03 disappeared from the map. Caleb stared. The road shut. Lucian. So we failed. Aren looked at the architecture. No. Mira smiled slightly. We identified the lock. Different. Now they could engineer around it. The continuity gate existed as a single arbitration node layered on top of the original free road. Caleb visualized it. Two paths entered. One path exited. The order had literally rewritten plurality into a funnel. Nera looked at the diagram. Destroy it. Aren. Maybe. Lucian. I cannot believe Aren is the one saying maybe. Aren pointed at the gate. If we destroy it incorrectly, we may also destroy the original road. Nera sighed. Fine. Caleb rotated the navigation model. The original road still has multiple authority channels underneath. How many? Mira asked. 7. Of course. Aren looked at Workshop 0. Original Human Free Road Protocol. 7-inch distinct authorities. The continuity order had not rebuilt the entire road. It had added one central identity layer above it. Like placing one locked door in front of 7 open corridors. Darius. Remove the door. Aren. Yes. How? That was harder. The continuity gate only existed remotely at node 03. They could not physically reach it without passing through it. Classic access problem. But Nera had interface authority. Caleb navigation. Aren engineer. Could they communicate with the original layer beneath the continuity overlay? Maybe. Nera tried. The gate intercepted. Pair resolution required. Again. She muttered something unpleasant. Caleb tried routing around. Every path converged. Mira tried addressing original protocol directly. Gate intercepted. Lucian. So the central layer owns the entrance. Aren looked at the signal history. No. Something else. The continuity gate expected one identity token because all candidate authority packets included candidate metadata. Candidate 731. Candidate 732. What if they stopped sending candidate metadata? Nera understood immediately. Strip the numbers. Aren nodded. The order attached candidate IDs to their historical profiles. But their current free road authorities did not require those identifiers. Engineer authority could be Aren Vale. Interface authority, Nera. Not 731. Not 732. Mira smiled. We remove the classification before the gate sees it. Lucian. Will it accept unidentified users? Aren. Original road might. Caleb. Continuity layer probably won't. That is the point. They built a clean authority packet. No candidate number. No Adrian hash. No continuity score. No memory authentication. Only Engineer, Aren Vale. Interface Enter. Navigation, Caleb Reese. Systems, Miracase. Frame, Lucian Viewer. Movement, Rowan Hale. Response, Celine Ward. Temporary. 7-inch people. 7-inch names. No candidates. No throne. They transmitted. The continuity gate responded. Candidate identification missing. Aren. Correct. Access denied. But beneath the denial, another signal appeared. Faint. Original protocol. Free road authority set detected. Caleb shouted. There? The old layer could see them. Nera leaned forward. Can you answer it? Mira isolated the channel. Barely. Nera translated. Request original access. Continuity gate. Denied. Original layer. Authority set valid. Both signals overlapped. One old system said no. One older system said yes. Lucian. Now what? Aren looked at FreeNode 1's lesson. When a throne required one machine, break the machine. The continuity gate required one path. What if they did not give it one? Caleb. Yes? Can you create 2 exits? He froze. Then smiled. Maybe. Nera. 2? Aren. 1 for engineer authority. And 1 for interface? Yes. The original free road was designed for multiple roles. The continuity gate forced them into one identity route before access. So, do not merge. Caleb defined separate navigation paths. One signed by Aren. One signed by Nera. Not destinations physically separate. 2 authority relationships traveling parallel toward node 03. The continuity gate reacted. Pair resolution required. Caleb held them apart. The gate tried to converge them. Navigation resisted. Nera translated each separately. Aren's packet. Aren Vale, engineer. Nera's. Interface. The gate. Multiple continuities detected. Nera. Good. Resolution required. Aren. No. The paths began collapsing. Caleb strained. I can hold maybe 20 seconds. Mira. Original layer? Still responding. The free road transmitted. Distinct authorities valid. Then. Do not merge. Everyone became still. There. The original system itself rejected the continuity modification. The road remembered what it was built for. Aren. Lucian. Yes. Can we force the gate into mechanical equivalent overload? You mean logically overload it? Yes. With what? More paths. Caleb stared. How many? Aren looked around. 7-inch. Of course. Each authority receives its own route. Not one group identity. Not even Aren and Nera, alone. 7-inch distinct lines approaching node 03 simultaneously. Caleb laughed. That is insane. Aren. Can you do it? Caleb looked at his 15-minute timer. Dr. Wren stood behind him. 4 minutes remaining. Yes. Nera. Then do it. 7-inch routes formed. Engineer. Pilot. Systems. Frame. Response. Navigation. Interface. Separate. Parallel. No central destination identity. The continuity gate tried to resolve. Multiple continuities. Then. Error. It attempted to compare Rowan to Adrian. No match. Mira. No match. Lucian. No match. Celine. No match. Caleb. No match. Nera. Partial. Aren. Partial. The system flooded with incompatible assumptions. It had been built to compare candidates, not people fulfilling separate roles. Continuity model failure. Nera grinned. Good. The gate attempted a fallback. Select highest continuity score. Aren's route began receiving priority. He immediately revoked it. Engineer, path reject. The gate shifted toward Nera. She revoked. Interface reject. It tried Caleb. No Adrian match. Failure. Rowan. Movement rejects centralization. Mira. Systems rejects false identity mapping. Lucian. Frame rejects merged authority. Celine. Response rejects externally imposed priority. Caleb. Navigation maintains distinct paths. Nera. Interface rejects identity merge. Aren. Engineer rejects continuity arbitration. 7-inch refusals. The continuity gate stopped. Then something underneath it unlocked. Original free road protocol. Authority disagreement confirmed. Next. Plurality valid. Then. Continuity arbitration not required. Aren stared. The original system had always been capable of bypassing the order layer. It simply needed enough distinct human authority to prove the central continuity model was incompatible with road function. The gate flickered. For the first time. Node 03 appeared fully. Not just coordinates. A structure. A massive station hidden inside a fractured asteroid. Human. At least partly. Ancient rings wrapped around it. Half destroyed. One section completely dark. Another still glowing with white free road lines. Caleb whispered. We found it. The road opened. Not for candidate 731. Not candidate 732. For 7 people. The system transmitted. Free road node 03-inch access granted. Then a final message. Welcome persons. Nera went silent. Aren did too. Persons. Not candidates. Not functions. Not continuity lines. People. The continuity layer had called them versions. The older system remembered better. Then node 03 transmitted a file. One recording. Damaged. 200 years old. A woman appeared. Not candidate 001. Younger. Short dark hair. One mechanical eye. Blood on one sleeve. Behind her, alarms flashed. The file identified. Node 03-inch interface operator. Name, Lyra Sin. No candidate number. Good. She spoke quickly. If this message opens, the continuity lock has been bypassed. Nera leaned closer. Lyra continued. Then the order did not win completely. The recording shook. Something struck the station in the background. Node 03 was the first road they took from us. Aren listened. They told us one identity was safer. One engineer. One preserved mind. One authority that could survive every generation. Lyra laughed bitterly. We believed them because we were afraid. The camera shifted. Behind her. 7 people stood around a damaged road console. Then 1 became 2. 2 became 12. And suddenly they had to decide which version was real. Nera's expression changed. The first continuity candidates. Not Aren. Not her. This had happened before. That was when the order began pair resolution. Aren stared at the inactive continuity gate. Lyra continued. If you are watching this because it asked you to choose between 2 people carrying the same memories, pause. Then, do not choose. Nera's eyes widened. The question is the trap. Aren felt something settle into place. Exactly. The order never needed to prove which candidate was authentic. It needed candidates to accept that only one could be. Lyra continued. Memory overlap does not create ownership of a life. Similarity does not reduce personhood. And continuity is not a throne. The recording distorted. Then stabilized. We tried to remove the lock. We failed. So we broke the road instead. Caleb looked at the navigation map. That explained the damaged routes. The original free road operators had intentionally destroyed parts of their own network rather than let the continuity order centralize it. Same philosophy as free node 1. Break the machine before accepting the throne. The pattern repeated across centuries. Lyra's expression softened. If the road opens again. She looked directly into the recording. Do not restore what we broke until you know why we broke it. Aren nodded slowly. Good warning. Then Lyra said. And if an interface is with you. Nera froze. Tell them Node 03 kept one door closed. Behind Lyra, a symbol appeared. 7-inch rings. One highlighted. Interface. The architects wanted that door. The Order wanted it more. Nera whispered, "What door?" The recording answered as though she had asked. "The road to the 7th function archive." The room became silent. Aren looked toward Nera. The architect interface. Her role. Her ability. The recovery site from the throne fragment. Maybe connected. Lyra continued. "We sealed it because the archive does not merely contain interface technology." Then the final clear sentence. "It contains the record of why humans were given the interface function at all." Nera stopped breathing for a moment. The recording degraded. One last fragment remained. "Do not send a candidate. Static. Then, send someone who chose their own name." The recording ended. No one spoke. Nera stared at the blank screen. Aren knew what everyone was thinking. The message was meant for someone like her. Not candidate 732. Nera. But that did not mean she had to go. Aren said it before anyone else could speak. "You do not have to." Nera looked toward him. "I know. Good. No pressure. No destiny. No role assigning her life." She looked at Lyra's frozen image. Then at the 7th function symbol. "What is behind the door?" "Aren. We do not know. Could it help stop the throne bearer? Maybe. Could it make things worse? Yes. Could the Order reach it?" Aren looked toward Mira. Mira checked the new Node 03 telemetry. Then froze. "They're trying." A new signal had appeared. Not architect. Human. Encrypted. Modern. Federation standard hardware architecture with continuity, order, encoding layered inside. Caleb tracked it. A vessel. No. 3-inch. Small long-range ships traveling through an old branch of the broken road. Destination. Node 03. Arrival estimate. 31 hours. Nera's expression changed. The Order. Celine nodded. They must have detected the gate opening. Aren looked at the route. 31 hours. Wayfarer could potentially reach Node 03 through the reopened road much faster. But current mission authorization did not cover it. More importantly, Node 03 itself warned not to restore broken roads blindly. Aren would not rush because the Order did. Nera spoke. "They're going for the 7th function archive." Likely. The Order had spent generations trying to collapse multiple people into one continuity. An archive, explaining why humanity received interface authority, could threaten their entire doctrine. Or give them a new way to control candidates. Aren looked toward Nera. She already knew. If they reach it first. Aren. We do not know what happens. Nera. I know. She paused. Then. I want to go. Silence. Aren did not answer immediately. Not because he objected. Because the wording mattered. Why? Nera frowned. You want an essay? Yes. Annoying. Answer. She looked toward Tomas and Lena. Both stood outside her facility interface room. Listening. Lena looked worried. Tomas too. Neither interrupted. Nera took a breath. Because they keep calling me candidate 732. Aren waited. And because I have memories I didn't choose. She looked at Lyra's message. And because every system connected to those memories keeps telling me what they mean. Then. I want to know why the interface exists. Her voice became quieter. Not so I can become it. But so I can decide what part of it I want. Aren nodded. Good. Nera continued. And if the continuity order wants whatever is behind that door. Her eyes sharpened. I do not want them deciding first. Aren looked at Lena. Not his decision. Lena stepped closer to Nera. You want to leave Eidolon? Nera hesitated. For a while. With him? She looked toward Aren's display. Then. Yes. Tomas asked. Do you trust them? Nera stared at Aren. Aren did not try to look trustworthy. That would have been strange. Nera answered. Yes. Then quickly. Most of them. Lucian. Reasonable. Rowan. Who is excluded? Nera. Undecided. Aren ignored them. Lena looked toward Helene Voss, who had entered the room behind them. Helene. Federation civilian travel rules still apply. Nera sighed. Of course. Nera was 14. Not military. Not a Federation candidate. Not anyone's property. A civilian minor. That meant permission mattered. Medical. Legal. Parents. Nera looked toward her mother. Lena asked one question. If you decide you want to come home, can they bring you back? Aren answered, yes. Nera looked at him. He continued. We do not proceed without a return route. Exactly. Lena nodded. Then we discuss it properly. Not yes. Not no. Good. Nera did not argue. Progress. Maybe. Wayfarer's destination board changed that evening. Not officially. Aren created a planning route. Greyhaven. Outer Dark 7C. Node 03. Eidolon 7-inch. The order was wrong. To bring Nera physically, they would need to reach Eidolon first. Could Node 03 connect to Eidolon? Caleb searched. The old free road network had a damaged branch. Yes. But incomplete. Alternative. Greyhaven free road to Outer Dark. Outer Dark to Node 03. Node 03 to Eidolon. That meant Aren would reach Node 03 before Nera. The sealed 7th function door explicitly requested an interface, who chose their own name. No reason for Aren to open it without her. Could use Node 03 as a waypoint and continue to Eidolon. Maybe. But the continuity order fleet would arrive in 31 hours. Time mattered. Could Nera travel from Eidolon through its own architect facility? No. That would use architect road architecture. Sovereign risk. Could the Eidolon free system open a human free road? Nera checked. Free road compatibility, partial. Of course. The facility was architect origin but had been modified by ancient humans. Maybe enough. Caleb mapped a possible connection between Eidolon and Node 03. Weak. Damaged. Travel confidence. 43%. Unacceptable. Aren. Repair remotely? Nera. Maybe. Lucian. That word is becoming dangerous. Aren ignored him. The broken branch required a relay at the midpoint. Physical hardware. No one near it. Could Wayfarer deliver it? That meant Greyhaven, Node 03. Deploy relay toward Eidolon branch. Repair road. Then travel to Eidolon. Pick up Nera, if approved. Return Node 03. Potentially before the order fleet. Tight. Very tight. Aren calculated. Best case, 21 hours. Worst, more than 40. Not reliable. Could split the task. Kestrel had industrial launchers. Caleb had navigation. Could Kestrel launch a relay into the Eidolon Node 03 branch from another angle? Maybe. Distance relationship favorable. Aren opened the route. Caleb smiled. There. 3 systems. Greyhaven. Kestrel. Eidolon. Distributed infrastructure. They did not need Wayfarer to build every road itself. That had always been the point. Kestrel could launch Path Relay Mk2 toward the broken branch. Eidolon facility could establish one endpoint. Node 03, another. Caleb routes. Nera translates. Aren supplies engineering pattern. Mira systems. Lucian structure. No throne. A road built by people who were not even in the same star system. Wayfarer's philosophy applied at network scale. Aren looked toward Darius. Darius nodded. Build the road first. Yes. The continuity order sent one message while preparations began. Not to Federation Command. Not to Greyhaven. Directly to Aren and Nera. Candidate 731. Candidate 732. Then, pair resolution was interrupted. Nera rolled her eyes. Aren did not. Next. Voluntary resolution remains available. Nera. Voluntary. Mira. They have an unusual definition. The message continued. Primary continuity will receive full order protection. Secondary continuity will be preserved. Aren stared. Nera. Preserved. She knew what that word meant now. Stored. Copied. Frozen. Reduced to useful data. The order continued. No further conflict is necessary. Then, select. 2 options appeared. 731. 732. Aren did nothing. Nera did nothing. The order waited. Then a final message. If you will not choose, the order will resolve the conflict at Node 03-inch. Transmission ended. Lucian. That sounds like a threat. Aren. Yes. Nera smiled. Everyone looked toward her. Not happy. Dangerous. They still think the conflict is between us. Aren nodded. They are wrong. Nera. Good. Then she looked directly toward Aren. If they make us fight? Aren answered. We don't. If they make access dependent on one of us winning? We find another access path. If they try to recover me? We stop them. Nera. If they try to recover you? Aren paused. Then. You stop them. She smiled. Good. Not protector and protected. Not primary and secondary. Two people. Different. Equal in the only sense that mattered. Neither disposable. Late that night, Workshop 0 updated Aren's identity record. The continuity layer had transmitted new classifications. Previously, Candidate 731, failed continuity. Now, Candidate 731, unresolved primary. Nera. Candidate 732, unresolved primary. The order could no longer decide which was successor. Aren looked at both, then opened local records. He changed nothing about the order data. Evidence should remain evidence. Instead, beside it he added local identity records. Aren Vale. Age 12. Role, engineer. Status, person. Continuity classification, not applicable. Then, Nera. Age 14. Role capability, architect interface. Status, person. Continuity classification, not applicable. Pip looked at the entries. Clear. Aren nodded. Nera saw the update remotely. For several seconds she said nothing. Then, you put capability instead of role? Yes. Why? Because you have not chosen permanent assignment. Nera looked away briefly. Good. Aren added Caleb. Caleb Reese. Age, 16. Role capability, navigator. Status, person. Crew assignment, unresolved by choice. Caleb received the notification. Caleb, why am I in this? Aren, consistency. Caleb, fair. Mira, you realize you are building a personnel database. Aren, no. Lucian, you absolutely are. Aren, it is an authority registry. Darius, that is a personnel database with engineering words. Aren ignored them. At the top he added one system-wide rule. Memory similarity does not create succession authority. Then, no person may be designated redundant because another person remembers the same life. Nera read it. Good. The continuity order had spent generations asking, which copy is real? Aren finally understood the correct engineering response. Do not optimize the answer. Reject the requirement. At 03-inch, 27 Caleb detected the order fleet. 3 vessels. Human. Small. Fast. Running through the broken road network using partial continuity, authorization. Arrival node 03. 24 hours 11 minutes. They were accelerating. Of course. Kestrel's path relay Mk2 would be ready in 6 hours. Eidolon branch calibration. Maybe 9. Wayfarer preparation. For inch. Aren looked at the schedule. No margin. Lucian stood beside him. You're smiling. I am not. You have the face. What face? The impossible schedule face. Aren looked toward Wayfarer. Physical completion. 41.2%. Greyhaven deployment modifications had increased practical readiness. Still unfinished, but much more capable. Road systems external. Correction resistance mode tested. Roll elevation prohibition installed. Workshop bay functional. Life support expanded. Road marker deployment systems installed. No weapons. Good. Aren did not want weapons to become the solution to the continuity order. Not first. If the order attacked, they would defend. But the conflict was philosophical before physical. The order believed survival required preserving one identity above all others. Aren and Nera had become proof that preservation could create new people instead. That scared them. Because if Nera was not Adrian, their project was not immortality. If Aren was not simply Adrian, their success metric was wrong. If both were real people, then every candidate they archived, erased, replaced, or reclaimed had been a person too. The Order's entire history changed. No wonder they wanted pair resolution. One winner made the doctrine survivable. 2 people made it unforgivable. Aren looked at Nera's live feed. She was asleep. Finally, Lena had apparently won that argument. Good. Caleb, was also on mandatory rest. Dr. Ren had won his. Rowan slept inside Wayfarer's crew section. Mira had left an hour earlier. Lucian refused to admit he was tired. Darius sat at a workbench drinking coffee. Pip recharged. For once, Aren was not alone because everyone had abandoned the work. They trusted him enough to sleep while he handled his part. That was different. He looked at the 7-seat diagram. Mission continuity requires disagreement. Maybe it also required rest. Unfortunate. Darius looked toward him. Bed. Aren. I need 20 minutes. 10. 15. Darius. Deal. Aren frowned. That negotiation was too easy. You're tired? Correct. Annoying. Aren finished one final update. Next mission. Objective 1. Stabilize Eidolon, Node 03 Free Road Branch. Objective 2. Reach Node 03 before Continuity Order Fleet. Objective 3. Preserve 7th Function Archive. Objective 4. No candidate resolution. Then he changed Objective 4. Too weak. Objective 4. There are no candidates aboard Wayfarer. He looked at it. Better. Far beyond them, the 3 Continuity Order vessels moved through the broken road. Inside the lead ship, a woman stood before a projection of Aren and Nera. Aren Vale. Candidate 731. Nera. Candidate 732. 2 probability trees spread beneath them. Both labeled. Primary continuity viable. The woman studied the conflict. She wore no military uniform. No visible weapon. Only a dark engineer's coat with the broken circle symbol hidden inside the collar. An officer asked, "Which one do we recover?" The woman answered, "Both." The officer hesitated. Pair resolution requires a single primary. Yes. Then one must eventually be terminated. The woman looked at Aren's image. Then Nera's. No. The officer became still. That answer was not doctrine. The woman continued. Candidate 731 changed the pattern. She looked toward Nera. Candidate 732 proved the change can stabilize independently. Then what is the objective? The woman smiled faintly. Pair resolution is obsolete. The officer stared. What replaces it? The woman turned toward Node 03. The merge. Far away, Wayfarer's passive systems detected nothing. The Order fleet continued forward. And inside their encrypted mission file, a new protocol activated. Continuity convergence. Targets, 731 plus 732. Objective, single shared identity. The Continuity Order had finally understood that Aren and Nera would never choose which one of them was real. So it had decided on another solution. It would make them the same person. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe.